What's up, Nerf Herders? This is Bootzilla.
This is Big Perm.
This is J-Bone.
And welcome to the Nerf Herders podcast. So we all saw Independence Day, Resurgence over the weekend. Hopefully all of you have as well, because if you haven't, you shouldn't be listening to this, or you probably should, because you didn't miss much. We're going to dive totally deep into everything with this movie, things that we enjoyed, things that we didn't like, touching base back on the first Independence Day a little bit so we can reminisce on what created a lot of our childhood growing up. And, we're going to dive right into this here. So, Independence Day came out mid-'90s. 20 years later, we've got Independence Day Resurgence, which picks up, chronologically right into the map there 20 years after the first film. And, the aliens have come back. They failed the first mission. They're back. We've got to stop them again. We've got our sequel. And let's dive right into this bad boy. So, kicking off with the beginning of the movie here. You start off, they kick off with Bill Pullman's speech a little bit to kind of get you set up for what's to come. You hear the distress call being sent out into space. So, you kind of know that aliens are coming back. They got this, whole thing sent out through space. So let's jump in.
All right, so I think the speech part when they showed him from the 90s, and then it was when it was doing like the galaxy like weave in and out all the way to like Mother Base, and it showed him like from the actual movie, which I thought was kind of weird. First off, it's like they're showing him actually talking as if from
the aliens are watching it.
Yeah, like the aliens actually watched the movie, as opposed to like some like different.
VHS.
As to I can't even say the word right now. But anyways, instead of like say a bird's eye view of like a camera angle no one's ever seen before, like they saw it in live action and finally reached them. First of all, that's a little bit of a fuck up. Number two, I think the whole speech thing, man. I think that whole speech thing on how they how do I say this? Because we saw it in like the Super Bowl commercial, in that with that one funny comedian actor guy who's like who did that movie with the end of the world. Anyways, it's not important. What's important is that they totally, they brought it back from the dead, this like famous speech, and obviously you can just YouTube it, man. Videos like top famous speeches for movies, and that obviously is going to be numero uno or top 5, and it's like they had to like put that in there to like, remember the speech, guys? Remember the famous speech? Like, that's my movie. Yeah. That's Roland Emmerich's fucking movie.
Didn't it feel like a bitch out move, man? It felt like we were talking about like the Ghostbusters trailer and everything, how they started off the whole trailer.
Seth Rogen, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
The Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, gotcha. And it's like the whole thing with the Ghostbusters trailer where they're kind of like, back in the day, these scientists saved New York, and then they kick into the trailer, and it's like it has nothing to do with anything. It's like, we're just going to remind you of shit that you really liked, and then we'll see what happens. That's kind of how it made me feel. It's like, we're going to make it feel kind of epic right now, and then just shit all over you.
Yeah, I agree. I think, that whole beginning, I swear, for Roland Emmerich to go on the record stating that the Marvel movies are silly, he totally stole a fucking Marvel opening credit sequence.
Yeah.
That entire sequence of going through space and weaving through various galaxies is a total fucking Marvel move. You see that with Spider-Man.
It's very X-Men-y type. Did all the X-Men intros? It's all this like, woo, all over the place.
All the X-Men ones. It's actually more of a Fox thing, and this is made by Fox, so you wonder why it happened. But X-Men did it. The original Spider-Man kind of did it around, where
Sony.
you're going through with Sony through the molecule structures.
Oh, yeah.
This is a total comic book opening, and he's like, oh, fuck comic book movies.
Yeah.
Totally stole that opening from them.
You know what's funny, too? It's like, why did it take 20 years for this distress call to reach their home planet and get a new ship in? Like, when the new ship finally arrives on the moon, like, they kind of just came through a portal out of nowhere. It's like, it took 20 years for you guys to show back up? Like, that's how long this distress call took?
Yeah, gosh, dude,
super silly.
Okay, so that whole opening scene kind of like started off with a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, really? I'll admit, man, that speech is it's awesome, right? It's riveting. And then I just felt like, I don't know.
Well, let's carry on. Let's get on to the sequel now,
Yeah, it's just...
And like...
Right. Yeah, you utilize that speech for the previews to get you amped up.
Yeah, which was a killer amp up, dude. That was a killer teaser trailer.
I love the trailers, but then it's like we don't need it again. We already had it.
That's right. They used it in the trailers too.
And it worked. That worked.
So the first thing I wanted to really touch on, I guess we should just follow this from front to back, but just the pacing and how rushed it felt in the beginning there. You're trying to usher in all of this new stuff. You know, you start out and you have Liam Hemsworth,
too.
you know, making his opening sequence. You have Jesse Usher, like all these new guys, and they're all being thrown in the mix together, and you're expected to already know their origin. You know what I mean?
Well, that's one thing they left completely unturned. Like, they focused on this thing for some stupid reason where, like, they got into this fight, and it was this big deal, and there was never any resolve to it. It's just like, we hated each other, we fought, I punched you, haha, and that was it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you wanted to add more to these characters and maybe make people get a little bit more involved in it, like, maybe some resolution to that, or what happened? You know,
Exactly.
It's like, there was no resolve to that.
I agree. I think you know, and really in the beginning there, you had such a sloppy use of CGI. I felt with the whole moon sequences, with those little robots that have the arms and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it just felt so like rushed and so poorly done compared to the other CGI sequences with like the catastrophic, you know, landing of the ship on the Earth. That was pretty cool, but then like this whole moon sequence just felt so sloppy, so
green screeny.
Yeah,
it didn't feel very natural.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have all of a sudden it's like you're on this moon base, and all of a sudden this big fucking sphere shows up, and you're just like, where is this coming from? Like, you haven't even given us time to start learning where we are in this film, and you're throwing in these new things already.
Well, let's talk about the whole sphere thing. So here was my big issue with that. Clearly, this thing shows up, and it's like, you as the audience are looking at this like, well, this clearly isn't the aliens from before. So if we know this as audience members and all we got was a 2.5-hour movie before, clearly these assholes who've been studying this for the last 20 years would realize this isn't the same alien.
Yeah.
But not only does this thing show up and then we just shoot it for the hell of it, then we find out later the thing can talk, but when it shows up, it just sits there in quiet. Like, wouldn't you just kind of pop up and be like, hey, I'm not the enemy. I'm here to help you. We've got this base where all these other civilizations are, you know, coming together to defeat these aliens.
It's weird, too. It seems like Roland, or whoever cinematography-wise, it's like they borrowed, or script, whatever the fuck. It's like they borrowed from, like, The Day the Earth Stood Still a little bit, and, like, borrowed from what you're saying, like, some Marvel shit. And like I felt Alien and Aliens in this movie.
Oh,
Ridley Scott. I got you just like see these like these successful movies in the past, and obviously his the success of Independence Day 1. It's like he kind of sprinkled all throughout the movie. That like scene where that the moon base like was starting to fall and kill them all, and he saved. I felt that was completely unnecessary.
It
was
completely.
I did not need like some heroic. First off, that kid, the brother of Thor,
Liam
Hemsworth,
yeah, he sucks, dude.
Oh, he's terrible.
Oh, it was like
terrible.
The cringe is too hard, dude. I was like in the scene, I was like, oh fuck, oh man.
Well, that's why that scene was so stupid. I hated that scene too. I was actually going to touch base on that because it's like, what better way to try to set up your hero for this movie than put him in this position where it's just like, everybody aboard, let us die. Can't do that, sir. Can't do that. It's like, I don't give a shit about you at all, dude.
Yeah.
It was such a stupid movie trope to make this kid feel like he's like the badass Outlander man who just doesn't follow authority and he'll do what's right to save people's thing. So stupid, man. Like, his character completely sucked. Terrible. And the whole thing with the moon thing too, right? So like they blow this thing away without even like giving anything a chance. It shows up, doesn't harm anybody, it doesn't talk for whatever reason, but then it talks later. And like that's where we're at. So we get done with the moon and we finally get to see Earth. And clearly Earth has like been preparing for this for years. And the way that they kind of like progressed the story as far as like Earth integrated this technology with the alien stuff, and like we've got all this advanced warfare things. We've got the lasers now, like we can go super fast, like super cool. But everything that was built up, it didn't feel natural to me. It felt like we were not in the Independence Day world that was established. Mm-hmm. It had a very fake, polishy feel to it. You know, I didn't care for what they were going with all of that. It was way too overbuilt.
I wonder too if like Will Smith like read the script and he's like, like this shit sucks. Like, I'm not doing this fucking movie. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is horrible. So he's probably
yeah, dude.
I just thought it was so funny they had to throw his like picture in the White House. You know,
right?
like and then like dangling this.
Well, and you see it's him though, and you see it's him. You see it's him, and it's all blurry, right? And then they have to focus in on it real quick and pull off. It's like, we get it. He's there.
And it was like him. It was like him from back then,
right?
Like it wasn't him like a recent Lieutenant Will
No,
Smith.
it was like a screenshot from the movie, like him walking in the desert after he would just whoop some alien ass. You know,
like there was such a cop out how they did this too. It's like, oh, he died in a test experiment, like the first flights to the moon type thing.
Yeah. Oh God, like, that was so awful.
What a terrible way to do it. Why even give an explanation, man? Just like he's the broken house dad dude who left mom and kid. That's it, dude. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, at that point, what? So we have then. Jeff Goldblum. So honorable mention to Jeff Goldblum for saving this movie, whatever was savable for it with his performance.
Dude, him and his dad, Jeff Goldblum and Judd Hirsch were the only two redeeming factors of this movie. The only two moments that I cared about anything in this movie. Number one, as silly as it was, when Judd Hirsch is on the boat and everything's coming down and he's talking to Jeff Goldblum on the phone, I'm just like, oh my God, dude. Because they're killing everybody now.
Right.
It's like, oh, please don't kill his dad, dude. Like, while he's on the phone with them. Because I cared about their relationship from the first one still.
Yeah, definitely.
That had a moment right there. And then at the end, dude, when, like, his dad's coming in on the bus and, like, Jeff Goldblum's like, it's my dad. Like, I was kind of like, fuck yeah, you know? Yeah. But, like, other than that, I had no connection to anything.
They almost ruined Judd's character with that whole, like, surfing the wave with his big-ass boat sequence.
Oh,
I'm just like... Why is this even here, man? You should have cut that shit with the wave coming right at him and just leave it up to the audience to think, okay, he died. And then later in the movie show that, okay, he's in fact still alive.
Right.
You don't need to show this fucking stupid scene where he's just coming down like, oh yeah, baby, like riding the wave, you know?
Yeah.
It just felt so like pushed, you know?
Oh yeah, because you got all these like giant ships, man. They're just getting like tossed around like Legos.
I have a quick question. This is kind of like sidestepping here. What do you think was the better sequel, in this movie or Speed 2 Cruise Control?
Speed 2, man.
Speed 2, man. William Dafoe played a pretty good bad guy.
Speed 2, dude.
Man, you guys are ruthless, dude.
I know.
Yeah. Stone cold killers, dude.
Well, let's touch on this ship landing real quick too, because that was the only sequence in this entire movie where the aliens, you know, quote unquote, waged war on us. In the first movie, they show up, they strategically plan this whole thing to take us out, and then now finding out they want to come harvest everything. All right, fine, I'll buy it.
I think about that later. Yeah, go ahead.
But it's like they strategically have this plan to take everything out on this time. Just like, boom, hit us, and like, that's it, we're done. And it's like David versus Goliath in the first movie. So they fail. And this go around, they're like, all right, we're going to show up with one of these harvester ships that's 3,000 miles, you know, in diameter. We're going to plop this bad boy down. And as opposed to even trying to, like, wage war or attack anybody, we're just going to start harvesting. It's like, okay, well, if you're this advanced race and everything, and you know we beat you before with nothing, you've got to prepare and think that we're probably prepared for you coming back. Why wouldn't you just take this giant-ass ship and circle the Earth with it one time and just gravitationally pull everything out of sorts and then land?
Yeah.
It made no sense. There was no war.
There's problems with that for sure. I agree. I think it was just ridiculous because the way I feel with like these kinds of movies is that you have to explain the science behind the movie before it works. You have to like explain how does this fucking work in the universe of the movie. And they didn't really explain that with the magnetic field of the ship. They didn't explain very much about how the gravitational pull of the ship did much. I mean, they said, oh my God, it's so big, it's got its own gravity. But like, they didn't talk much about that, and they just left it so like, okay, so this ship lands over, you know, Europe and half of the Atlantic. Okay, cool, and it fucks everything up below it. But how did that ship not have any impact on how the rest of the world's gravity and magnetic fields and everything else work? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that ship pull things and make it just look almost like Mother Nature going into a fucking shitstorm? Like, I feel like it would have more of an impact than just on what's below it. You know
for I mean? Sure. And these are things that stand out a lot more when your movie's not good.
Right.
If your movie's good and you're entertained by things and your characters are enjoyable, you can suspend disbelief for certain things like this where it's like, all right, I'll buy it because I'm having a good time with the movie. But this shit sticks out like sore thumbs when nothing else is working, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, you were going to say in regards to the whole thing with the ship.
Well, I mean, basically,
the harvesting.
This is kind of like getting to the end here, but the harvesting. But it's like they mentioned, you know, oh yeah, no one when the sphere woman talks and she's like, yeah, our race has been destroyed, blah blah blah. No one's ever defeated a harvester before. You could be the first ones to do it, and this and that. A harvester queen, right? And then they show like an outer space like diagram blueprint of like how it was destroyed from all these Harvester Queen ships, right? And come to find out, like, there was only one Harvester Queen that came to Earth. Like, there's so many more out there. So it's like, it's almost in a sense like this movie was fucking pointless. You know, it wasn't like the big bad motherfucking brain ship that holds the harvesters and then sends out the originals from 84.
Yeah.
It was like just some simple fucking harvester ship, like, oh, distress beacon, I'm gonna go over to Earth and fucking rescue my guys 20 years later. And then it come to find out, like, oh, fuck, you know, and then they destroy her, the queen. Fuck, dude, oh my gosh. And then that brings up the point where you were saying, too, you have an impregnable fucking ship that, like, that the Earth can't even outgun, outmaneuver, outsmart. The defenses on the fucking the Harbinger ship is like impenetrable, like Mike Tyson, you know, my defense is impenetrable. and then like you said, the fucking queen gets a distress call, like the sphere is here, like it's over in Area 51 or some shit, and it like abandons its fucking defense. You know what I mean? Like, you could have just stayed there, dude, and fucking blast them all out of the sky and go, all right, we're going to pick everything up and come over here.
Exactly, dude. Yeah, the queen. Everything is going to stop. You kill the queen, you knock the queen out, the whole mission aborts, everybody goes away, but she's going to leave this, like, impenetrable defense system that they've got and just like, well, I'm going to go over here and just take my chances. How the hell has a harvester ship not been defeated in the past? Because, like...
Yeah.
Come on.
I agree. I think, you know, they really tried to shoehorn in a franchise here, and they tried
That's
to,
what this movie was. It was a stepping stone to get somewhere else.
Yeah, you built it up. I mean, I didn't like, you know, I felt, okay, cool, Jeff Goldblum's introduced, and he's in, you know, Africa, and he's looking at this original, you know, harvester ship that was left there, the only ship that landed and didn't attack anyone, but it just drilled, right? And then you see all these, like, hieroglyphics and all the alien skulls of all the hunters and shit. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool here. But like, what I really couldn't buy was that you had, you know, these three guys in the movie. You had Bill Pullman, you had the warlord guy, and then you had the scientist, Brent Spinner's character.
Oh, Brent Spinner, yeah.
And, the long-haired guy?
Yeah, and they all have some like this connection, right, with the alien beings, but you would think they would have more of a connection to be able to say, like, that sphere was a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Jeff Goldblum was kind of saying, like, don't do anything, like, when they had that moment.
And he clearly knew, like, hey, this is not the same thing we've seen before.
Yeah, but everybody else is just like, shoot it. It's like, it shows up and it's just sitting there, stationary.
Yeah, and I mean, I personally would have expected the other people who had that mental, psychological connection to, like, understand what this thing was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. It was very lazy writing. It was just like, all right, this is the plot device to get us to something we need to do at the end. It's just our excuse to get the queen off the ship so we can win. Like,
one piece of... Or go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What really pissed me off with the lazy writing part that you said was the part where they're trying to build, like, an emotional character development thing with, like, Hemsworth character, the kid, and the president's daughter, right? With this like Skype fucking moon to Earth thing, and like, oh yeah, baby, I miss you, and the signal's going out. It's like, okay, I can buy it, I can buy a little bit, I can, whatever.
Like,
and then, yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm eating my popcorn and shit, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy that. So, anyways, so yeah, and then you fast forward, and I forget what happens, like,
the power surges start going.
Yeah, the power surges start going or some shit, and freaking Jeff Goldblum's character is told, like, hey, you can't go to the moon or else you'll be in trouble, slap on the wrist. So he goes to the moon. They come back or some shit or something like that. And as they're weaving, two things. I'm digressing, but I'll get to my ultimate point. But they're coming in. They're seeing the fucking Harbinger ship coming in. They're weaving in and out of London, right, as the shit's falling after the anti-gravity picked everything up and it's dropping everything now. And they're weaving in and out. And they're like, oh, fuck, you see Big Ben, and they're in London. You're like, okay, they're in the UK. And all of a sudden, like, the next scene, they're in fucking, like, across the Atlantic Ocean in, what, Area 51 or DC or some shit. It's like, first of all, how the fuck did you get there so fast? Secondly, and then, like, you just, like, were talking to your fiance who you haven't seen in a long-ass time, and all of a sudden, like, the president, the old president, passes out or whatever, fucking that interrogation scene. He's like, and he's sitting on the floor, and she's like, Dad, waking him up. Here comes her fiance out of fucking nowhere. Like, hey, babe, haven't seen you in fucking 5 months. Yeah. Like, oh no, he'll be fine. It's like, you blew your fucking load, man, you cum rag.
Yeah, no, to your point, I think the character development was just really awful in this movie. I mean, I love Bill Pullman. I love his character from the first one, but even this one, man, I felt like he was just kind of like,
oh, he didn't know where.
Oh, he was cashing in, dude.
Like,
he was just like easy paycheck, dude. What do you want me to do? Grow a beard for $2 million? Fuck.
Yeah. Like okay. He didn't give a shit. You didn't give a shit about the character relationships. I mean, god damn it, dude. Fucking Jesse Usher. Oh,
let's talk about these new
kid,
characters,
man.
Dude. Liam Hemsworth and Jesse Usher. Those are like your two heroes, man. That's supposed to be like your Randy Quaid and like your Will Smith, dude. Like these are the two guys that you're supposed to be behind and rooting for. They sucked, dude.
Well, it pisses me off that you had such an amazing connection to Vivica Fox in the first movie.
Oh, God.
She was so good in the first movie, like, the protector of the child and a survivor, and she's, helping the first lady survive and things like that. This movie, you see her for like 5 minutes and then she fucking dies. And Jesse Usher, Dylan, he watches his mom die and he's just like, no!
Yeah, Mom! Like, and it's like some weird CGI fucking mom.
Yeah, and you know what it felt like? Like when she died and I saw her like crumble with the fucking skyscraper. It was like the fucking Steven Seagal death and Executive Decision, dude. Like she just disappears. Like, all right, you're done. Like, see you later.
I don't know why she was in the movie. I feel like the only reason was just like, oh, we'll get someone from the original movie and people are gonna like get on board before the movie comes out. Like, oh, they're bringing everyone back. We're bringing the gang back together. There was no point of her in this movie.
Yeah.
They showed a couple quick shots of her for no reason, just to obviously be like, oh, well, this is what this bitch has been up to. And then,
goes from a stripper to
some doctor.
Yeah.
Some hospital administrator. I don't know.
Well, then he shows up to go rescue her, and it's just like, that's it, dead. It's like, what was the point? Why didn't you just say she died in a flight test experiment too? Maybe she was in the plane with Will Smith. I mean, Jesus.
And these characters are so conveniently located near each other. And these scenes take place in fucking Nevada, Area 51, Washington, D.C., 2,000 miles away. Like, but they're all so conveniently able to,
like I said, how they get
interact
so
with each
fast.
other. You know what I mean?
Right?
And I felt like the whole connection between Liam Hemsworth and Jesse Usher was just so bad. Like you were saying earlier, they obviously have this personal tension, and they had some kind of beef, and it had to do with them being pilots in the academy or something. Whatever. But you didn't even feel like you gave a shit about that.
No,
when he jacked him in the face, I was like, it's a little fucking. Like, you could have talked that out, motherfucker.
Well,
like,
that
so
and
prideful,
it's like Jesse Usher is supposed to be this, like, savior and this poster boy for the Air Force and shit, He's getting, the president, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All this shit, and he just goes and just decks some random dude, in front of his officer, his, reporting officers, and it's just like...
What did you think? Oh, go ahead.
No, these characters just suck, though, man. Like, if you look at the big difference, man, with like the movies in general, comparing them, but I mean just Will Smith, man, like your leading guy. Will Smith made it work because he had so much charisma. Like you got behind his character and it was doable. The whole scene in the first movie with him and with his buddy, dude, when they're like kind of like flying and like he's about to die, dude, like Jimmy's about to die. Like, not that it's like you're gonna cry, but it wasn't this like I don't give a shit thing. It's like they kind of set up their relationship just good enough before that with the whole like, joking proposal thing. And it's all like, light him up, Big Daddy. They kind of had all this little bit of chemistry, man. Just to when he died, you believe that these two were like best friends, man. And you kind of like get the idea of what their history is. So it hits you in that way where it's like, yeah, these guys have something together and this sucks, dude. Like this sucks for Will Smith's character right now. I get his motive to want to just beat the fuck out of aliens now. And there was nothing like that in this movie. Nobody brought that, like, energy and that charisma, man. It just kind of, like, made it feel like the stakes were high type of attitude. It was just, like, scene after scene after scene, and there was nothing to, heighten the tension, lower the tension. You're just like, I'm waiting for the movie to end at this point. I just want it to end.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there was no, my biggest point with character development was there was no serious or emotional tones. They were all comical. Like, I actually started chuckling during these supposedly serious scenes because I was like, really? Like, get fucking real here. Like, I don't buy this for a fucking minute, you know?
What about the scene where they stormed the president and like all these Joint Chiefs of Staff and they're like, there will be no peace, and they just gunned her down.
But you never see her die.
Yeah, you never see
her die.
Yeah.
You see one of the tentacles come out, grab somebody, and then it just cuts to the next scene. And it's like, there was totally no conclusion to that. And the next thing you know, it's like, they go up, what's his name? William Fichtner? And they're just
William
like,
Fichtner.
we're swearing you in. You're the new president. It's like, wait a minute. Like, couldn't you have shown some resolution in that last scene just to kind of like let the audience know they're dead?
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares about these characters. Just show what happened.
I agree.
That was kind of fucking weird, wasn't it?
Oh, to me, it almost seemed like an editing thing, dude. Like, there was supposed to be a couple extra seconds to watch some blasts come in, you know, just like at them and then cut. So that way you get the idea they're dead. As opposed to like, when she said that, there'll be no peace, I'm thinking like, they're going to fight back and whoop their asses. Like, that was the first thing I'm thinking, you know?
Yep.
There'll be no peace. We're going to fucking kill you type thing. Like, it just didn't make sense.
Let's, with that point, let's talk about these aliens.
Let's talk about
these aliens because I'm going to be honest, man. Everything looked like a fucking video game in this movie to me.
Oh, dude. What's up with the CGI, man?
It was oh, God. When you're watching these things on the monitors, it's like someone was pressing like fast forward mode, and they were just so poorly done, you know what I mean?
Well, their body movements, too. Like, in the first movie, right, all practical suits, everything looked good. And, like, these are very odd type of like puppeteering things, man. Like, they're not like just a standard person in a suit. Like, they're very intricate design creatures. In this movie, all this CGI, like the way they were moving was just very disjointed, like just like, you know, like shifting back and forth and tentacles flipping a million miles an hour. And
they held their plasma rifles like fucking Terminators. You know, they're they're coming in, you know, like Terminator squads, and then they're jumping. The scene where Bill Pullman gets interrogated, and it's like a recreation of is this glass bulletproof? Yes, no, sir. You know, and they fucking
felt like that.
And they fired the glass, and the alien fucking just jumped right up to the fucking what? Like, you did not show any capability of any of this shit in the first one, nor holding any weapons. Like, you figured since you're a fucking alien, you can just like mind fuck them. And just like, and just they're dead, as opposed to actually coming in like a Terminator style. That was stupid as fuck. And then like jumping to the ceiling, I thought that was like, man, you're stealing from fucking Ridley Scott, dude.
Yeah,
you're stealing from fucking like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I thought the aliens just looked so poor, like poorly. Just, I felt like the guys who were doing the CGI in this movie were just kind of like, fuck it, you know. Like, we spent all the money on the big budget, like, disaster sequences, so let's cut corners everywhere else.
Yeah,
you know?
So sad.
Like the aliens just looked very silly to me. And how about this fucking queen? Like, why is it in this big fucking mecha suit that's, 100 feet tall compared to everyone else? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's out of nowhere. And then the fact that they even use the queen, it's like, okay, you just ripped off aliens.
Or you
like,
say quote unquote
aliens, dude.
Quote unquote queen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
This queen, whatever hive.
The whole thing with the hive.
Harvester 1 queen, then you got Harvester 2 queen, and so on and so forth out in their fucking world. Oh,
yeah,
man,
it just didn't make much sense to make the queen like abnormally large, or at least in a suit that was abnormally large. Like, why would you just do that where this queen can go just fuck everything in sight? You know what I mean? Yeah. And the other aliens, it just kind of felt like, okay, so the last one, the movements, like you said, I mean, it was all practical effects, so the movements were a lot more realistic. You felt like, okay. But this one, it was like, they were so quick and, like, zipping around. Like, how the fuck were they not like that in the first one?
Yeah, the continuity definitely doesn't add up.
These aliens have been locked up for 20 years. You would think they would have the same capabilities as as they did 20 years ago.
Yeah,
exactly. And they needed to give her a fucking gun. Remember the queen at the very end when she like jumps out of her suit? First of all, Bill Pullman dies in vain. That was all fucking pointless. Oh. It's like, cool. And then she hops out of her thing and she's got this fucking plasma rifle the size of fucking half a city block. And then they're like, attack the gun. And it's like this queen needs a fucking gun? Really? Like,
Why the fuck did
and
she
a
get out of
million
her
spaceships
suit?
making a tornado around her?
That was fucking retarded too.
One thing I wanted to bring up
yeah.
was, okay, so with the Queen, why was the Queen's armor surrounded by a shield and the soldiers did not have that technology? Like, what, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't
thought
they
about
make...
that too. How come we didn't have shields?
Yeah,
why didn't we figure that out?
Why? And then, with
and
the
they
big-ass...
kind of did when they did, like, I mean, not for our ships, but they did that one thing when they
The
enclosed
big
the giant
enclosing
bomb,
right?
Which was cool. Like that scene, that was actually pretty cool how they did that. It was clever.
And I agree. But it's like, to me, it's like, why could we could yield this technology? We can make guns, we can make ships, we can make all this technology, but we can't make shields for our soldiers or our own ships. And why did she have a big fucking generating shield over her, but all the other soldiers didn't, And then why did the big fucking ship have a generator that we couldn't get through? You know what I mean? Like, you would have thought we would figure out how to penetrate a shield like that.
Well, funny with that, too, is when they kind of docked on the ship, right? This drove me nuts, dude. So they dock on the ship, and we can see that, like, clearly they've got, like, natural resources, man. There's water and grass and all this, like, in the ship, right? So, like, they've got, all these natural resources, and they dock in the ship. It's, like, a couple of humans against, like, an army of aliens, and they just hide underwater, and, like, these aliens can't locate them. We've got technology to, like, at Area 51 to locate, like, oh, here's the Queen. We see her moving around on the ship, and they don't have nothing to locate. Like, here's the humans. They're right there under the water.
Yeah,
here's like some thermal detection.
We can watch Bill Pullman give his fucking speech from.
Yeah, but we can't find these humans hiding in our ship.
We can't see them. Yeah, I agree.
And they had that Terminator fucking like hunter killer aspect to them. Like they're hiding in the thing, dude. And they're like with the fucking feet, and it's like search mode and shit. It's like.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about this Queen, though, and how she miraculously survives this fucking fusion blast. This fucking fusion bomb explodes after Bill Pullman delivers the payload, and she just miraculously survives.
After Bill Pullman delivers the payload. What was his president's name? President Whitmore?
Yeah.
So dude, it's Bill Pullman. After Bill Pullman delivers the
payload. So she survives, right? And she emerges from the rubble and like, fuck you, it's not over, motherfuckers. But then they penetrate her shields with like excessive fire,
Yeah.
Fucking
they hit that one spot like on her chest or something. That, like,
Micah's character, whatever, she just starts shooting right. Oh, aim for the and then it's over. It's like. So you just, like, survived this nuclear blast, but...
Which didn't damage your shield at the time.
Yeah, it didn't damage your shield. You were still fine to fuck everything else up. But then, as soon as we shoot a few lasers at you, man, you're done.
Dude.
Well, let's talk about this shit, too, man.
The tornado?
Yeah, the tornado, exactly. Because you got this tornado, and then before, when they escape from the ship after they've docked, you've got these, like, dickhead pilots, man, that are shit characters, and they're outmaneuvering all these aliens in their craft, dude, chasing them down. And, like they escape out of there, and then they're in the cyclone thing, and they're like, oh, we've got these turbo boosters. Like, they know everything about this, which I can buy. Maybe we've studied their shit, even though these are new ships now. But, so they launch up, and all of a sudden they just do this fucking free fall, dude, and they're just nailing everything. Mm-hmm. And again, stupid shit like this bugs you when you're not having fun with the movie. First Independence Day, Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, they're outmaneuvering alien ships too, but guess what? I buy it because Will Smith proved to be a badass pilot, so I can get behind it because I'm having a good time with the movie.
Yeah.
I don't think about that being something silly anymore. It's just like, I'm behind it. I believe your character.
Yeah, I mean, these new ships that they had too were like total ripoffs of TIE fighters, man. Like, you had the two pilot seats, like one behind the other. One of them manned the guns, one of them manned the fucking controls.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they were shit designs too, man,
totally
compared to the first movie.
You want to know there was a dead fucking... they didn't even acknowledge like the laws of physics in this movie with that tornado scene. It was like, yeah, we got these turbo boosters on, like, but if we do it, man, we'll fry our engines. We only get one shot at this, right? So they initiate the turbo thrusters, right? And they start fucking, dude, the G-force alone would fucking knock you out. You'd be like, whoa. You would pass out, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you see it in those space astronaut missions where they put you in those, those, and they're like, whoa. Dude, you'd probably die. Yeah. You'd die from the G-force. It'd be so extreme to the fucking max.
So how?
You know?
and none of the other alien ships go after them, dude. Right? Because they showed the Queen, right? The Queen acknowledges something's going on, right? Like, they showed the Queen acknowledging, like, kind of like in the first one, dude, when, like, they get, stuck inside the Queen ship at the end.
Yeah.
And, they, like, put up the visors, and, like, the Queen, or the other controller of the Queen ship is, like, hitting the thing to, like, open the visor back up and all that. Like, there was a clear reference that the Queen was like, what the hell's going on here? And that was it. Yeah. Like, wouldn't you send maybe, 5 or 6 of those ships out and be like, hey, go blow them the fuck up? Like,
yeah.
They really didn't. Man,
how did President Whitmore go from this fucking cripple to like master pilot?
Oh, he was when he
like
shaved.
Belongs in the air.
When he shaved, dude. When he shaved, it's like fuck the cane, right?
Yeah,
like you're
he
walking.
Just shows up, he's walking like a motherfucker, dude. You should have shaved years ago, bro.
Fake it till you make it, right, President Whitmore?
And it's like you haven't flown a ship in 20 years, and obviously this technology has changed. How do you know how to fucking fly a ship right now? A new ship that has alien technology in it. How do you have that? I don't understand how you have that.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I don't know.
It's silly. That's the one. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I wish that they would have, instead of like, I know it's like present day, but I wish they would have done like a present day how we still see it today, as opposed to like this weird futuresque, like, tomorrow is today, type fucking thing with some weird like war propaganda put into it. Like I was telling,
it felt very Starship Troopers.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It felt very. Yeah, that was going to be my next sentence.
The whole ending scene at Area 51 was like hardcore Starship Trooper shit, dude. When they all like line up and it's like, all right, dude, like we're in the barricades, man. And like all of a sudden, like George Lucas's onslaught of like a million ships comes flying in, and it's just like
the George Lucas swarm, dude.
Yeah, how did any of these people survive that, dude?
Right? Yeah. And then
I remember a scene in the first Independence Day when like. The airbase got attacked, and everyone's running inside, and they're just blowing the shit out of everything. But no, dude, just humans chilling are just fine, dude. We're just gonna fire back at all these ships.
The warlord who, you didn't need him, man. Like, you got this warlord, like, running around Area 51 in front of all these, like, top government officials. It's like, this is a fucking warlord, dude. Like, this guy could be like, and just freak out. Have like a fucking freak out moment. Just, take his machetes to kill your fucking Whitmore guy.
Like, he just used the aliens to infiltrate, dude. Yeah. He's just taking everybody out.
Exactly, dude. He could have been like fucking a wolf in sheep's clothing. Fuck, this movie sucked, dude.
Total pointless character, man. And how about that other annoying dick, dude, that was following Jeff Goldblum around? It's like the little guy. Yeah, the little weasel bastard with his briefcase, dude. And then by the end, like, he's a hero, dude.
Yeah, you're a warrior or some shit. It's like, fuck this.
That guy, dude, he did not work one bit for me, dude. Not even a sliver.
No, he was pointless, and the warlord was pointless. Yeah, dude, like, you gotta kill him from behind, and he does, like, this weird fucking video game, like, Mortal Kombat slide, like, underneath the fucking alien. And it's like, dude, I just, like, cringed in my seat.
Well, yeah, it's like you think, okay, this alien's agile enough to, like, dodge our phaser, blasts.
Yeah, you can dodge blasters and stuff, dude, but, like, not a guy sliding underneath you.
Dodge a plasma rifle, you can dodge a machete.
Yeah.
You can dodge a machete, you can dodge a ball.
Let's talk about the scientist, though. The Britt Spinner's character.
I thought he was
He's been in a coma. I thought he was one of the better parts of the movie.
He's an entertaining character, but he was given too much to do. It's like they were kind of like, well, we don't have anything else that's working for this movie, so this charismatic guy that can kind of like have a little bit of screen presence, we're just going to give him way more to do than he should have, and he overstayed his welcome is what wound up happening with his character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he was awesome in the first movie, but it's because it was subtle. It was subtle usage of that. This movie, dude, like giving him the last line of the movie the way they did, like if that was not a big fuck you to the audience, just like, thanks for blowing your money, dude, get ready for 3. Like, that's all that was. It was like, yeah, you know what? Franchise, motherfucker! Like,
Fox paid me, bitches.
No, I agree. No, you're right on, dude. Like the first one, he was subtle, but he was kind of a little creepy, but like, and a little weird and creepy. It's like, man, what the fuck are you doing? How'd you get this job? And then but he's smart at the same time, and you kind of, whatever. But yeah, this one, man, like, I liked him because he brought like a little comedic relief, more so than the other fucking loser who was like chilling with the warlord the whole time. He sucked. Like, you didn't need him, man. Like, that comedic style of relief is it was fucking stupid.
It was like Michael Bay shit, dude.
Yeah.
It was very Michael Bay-like. Like, it's not funny. Like, you're trying over the top too hard to be funny, where it's just like, oh, you know, like
yeah, exactly. And I don't know, man. Like, to give him the last line of the movie, we're gonna kick some serious alien. It's almost like he broke the fourth wall. It's like the camera's like kind of kitty corner, and he's like, "We're gonna kick some serious
it's so true.
Alien ass."
Roll the black.
You know what I'm saying? Like, directed by Roland fucking Emmerich, you motherfuckers. And it just shows like a bunch of dollar signs, you know, like with like dollar signs made out of fucking middle fingers.
Like when you beat Free Cell.
Dollar signs made out of middle fingers as the fucking credits roll up.
It's so true, man. It was totally like fourth wall breaking, dude.
Dude, it really was, wasn't it? Like, we're gonna kick some serious alien ass. It's like, oh my god, the guy behind us in the theater is like, well, that sucked.
Yeah, dude.
He said they hear him. Yeah. He's like, well, that was shit.
Oh man, dude.
Fucking horrible, dude.
I mean, you just got. It's like the climax was so soft and. You know, when Bill Pullman's character dies versus when Randy Quaid's died, you know.
Oh, fuck. Night and day difference, right?
Yeah, you felt such an emotional, like, oh, my heart, you know, when Randy Quaid dies. Like,
yeah, tell my kids I love him, you know, and this and that.
You know, he's been this comedy relief the whole time, but now it's like, oh, my God, he's a true hero.
I've been saying it, Miguel. I've been saying it for 15 years.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, the character, that's to me, the two biggest problems with this movie. First and foremost, by far, is characters. Even if your movie is not that good, but you have interesting characters, you can get by. One thing that drives me nuts, this is like a slight tangent here, but one thing that drives me nuts, and it's about Independence Day, the first one, and it's a lot of other movies too, though. But it's like when you listen to like a lot of movie critics and stuff, and they're kind of like, yeah, you know, the first movie, it's not that good. It's not really a good movie, but I had a really fun time with it. And it's like, you know what, dude? Like, shut your fucking mouth. I hate when people critique movies like that, dude.
I hear you.
It's like, oh, Independence Day, stupid movie, but it's fun. It's not that good of a movie. Lincoln, though, was a masterpiece. Tell me how many times in the next 10 years you're going to fucking watch Lincoln and how many times you're going to watch Independence Day.
Yeah.
What's the better movie? Independence Day. Is it more artistically crafted? No, maybe not. But is it a more entertaining film where, like, it's more interesting and it's more fun and that's what you're going to watch? Yeah. So does that fault it for it's a bad movie? Why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me,
no,
man.
it doesn't make sense to me.
Movie critics are sucks jackasses, dude. Like, Independence Day is my guilty pleasure. Why? If it fucking entertained you and you had a good time watching it and you revisit it, guess what? It did its fucking job just right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Watching Independence Day with like a fucking little 2 donuts and you think you're getting away with like a fucking, like a cheating on your wife or some weird shit. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch this, my fucking guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're stupid, dude.
Yeah,
right.
I can't stand that shit, dude. And
I think critics just go by this standard for cinema. You know, films have to meet these standards, and if they don't qualify as a good movie.
Oh, yeah, dude. There are a lot of ball washers, man.
You know, it's just like... Oh, it's true. It's fucking true, man. It's like, you know, I have one word to say to all those motherfuckers, and that's Avatar, highest grossing movie of all time. Wasn't some cinematic, you know, film masterpiece, but it was a fucking achievement, man. Yeah. Made more money than anything else did, so y'all can suck this dick.
It's like, at the end of the day, I understand some directors will be like, you know, I made this movie, excuse me, and it didn't really make a whole lot of money, but... You know, I'm really proud of the movie, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, I get that. Okay, fine, whatever. And you get some guys, dude, it's just like, oh, man, you got these critics or these fucking ass kissers that come up to you and like, man, you made this really fucking awesome movie, man. I really loved it. It was artsy. It was fucking crafted. Oh, man, you know what I mean? Like, these elegant, rich people words, you know? And it's just like, yeah, but at the end of the day, you didn't make jack shit. You know, it's just like, you know, but in the back of your mind, you wish you would have had like a fucking Avatar in your hands. Like, because at the end of the day, man, it's like, you have the highest grossing film of all time, and then
what do moviegoers want, man? You want to be entertained, whether that be a serious movie, an action movie, a horror movie, whatever, dude. Like, there's movies, and that's why we have different genres and subgenres, because like whatever you're falling yourself into, you're out to set out one goal. Independence Day set out to entertain people, give us some like some state of the art special effects, dude, that like people weren't doing then. And, just deliver something, man. And, like, it hit it. It hit it with the ground running, dude. It was perfect, man.
Yeah.
It's like to compare Independence Day to, like I said, Lincoln or, Hurt Locker or whatever. It's not a fair comparison, dude. Like, you can't say, like, Lincoln's a better movie than Independence Day, because did Lincoln do as good as to what it was setting out to do than Independence Day? Because are you going to watch Lincoln every week? No. Like, I would watch Independence Day every week because it's a fucking entertaining movie. It's Independence Day dude. That's what's so disappointing about this, man, is because, like, not only is Independence Day a super fun movie, but it's something that we all grew up with as kids, dude. So, like, it holds a special place with all of us, man, because it's like we're 10 years old when that came out. And it's like you were just mesmerized by everything. It was just like Jurassic Park, dude. Jurassic Park, man. You see that, and you're like, man, dude, like, hell yeah, dude. What a time to be a kid, dude, to, like, have these kinds of movies. Like, the 90s had a lot of cool stuff like that. And then Jurassic World comes. And it's amazing, and it reminds you of what it was like to be a kid. And then Independence Day Resurgence comes, and it just makes you, think, thank God we've got the first one still to go back to.
Right.
Yeah, I think, too, he was trying to, like, relive the 90s again, Like, he was trying to, like, redo fucking shitty lines that you would only say in the 90s, Like, we're going to kick some serious alien ass. Like, nobody really says that anymore by accentuating, like, alien ass. Unless you lived in the fucking 90s or you're just making a shit film. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think lines like that you can get away with if you have the right character. Will Smith could get away with it, like, welcome to Earth. You know what I mean? I mean, today it'd be like, okay, like, that's kind of cheesy. But it's Will Smith. He can get away with that. His persona in the 90s was that. You know what I mean? It's the same with Quentin Tarantino movies. These characters say some fairly ridiculous lines if you just look at them as just a line out of a movie. But the characters who do them and the way they're developed, it works so well.
Yeah, no, I agree fully, dude. Fully. So let's do this, man. Like, top things, man, like, about this movie that pissed you off compared to the first one. Like, what were you looking forward to in this movie that you were expecting to see the first one carry over that just it completely shit on?
I was looking to see just an ultimate, like, unloading of everything and just the climax being this epic ending to the movie. I thought the ending was just super, like, kind of farted out.
Very anticlimactic, for sure.
It was. Like, when that explosion takes place inside of the giant shield, I felt like, okay. It didn't come like, oh, my God, this huge build-up. Oh, my God, it's over,
Well, there were no stakes. There were no stakes.
Right.
With the exception of, like, the landing of the ship and just, like, that quick gravitational scene, there was no war. We literally just whooped their asses.
Yeah.
Like, literally just whooped their asses. Like, it was nothing.
That really just killed it for me, because the first movie had such a huge climax where you have Randy Quaid going right up into the alien asshole and just fucks it all up, dude. And then you see all the ships start just getting destroyed, and it's just, you see that awesome chain reaction, and you're just like, oh my God, we won, we did it, we defeated these impossible odds. Yeah. I didn't feel that at all at the end of this movie, and that's what I was waiting for. I probably would have left the movie early if it hadn't been for A, the spoiler discussion, but B, if I was just like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to wait for it. Give me that fucking payoff. Yeah. It never happened.
No, for sure.
3 things that I thought I disliked. Man, there's a lot of things, man. We talked about a lot of shit, dude. I think real quick, I just say number 3 things. Man, dude, yeah, I think the storytelling, too much. Number 1 is the bad acting. Number 1 is the fucking horrible acting. Aside from the 2 that we mentioned earlier, the son of the dad, David, and
and then Jeff Goldblum and
Jeff
Judd
Goldblum,
Hirsch.
yeah. And then you got what did I say? The storytelling, the bad acting, and I'd say, fuck, dude, I'd say like the continuity errors, man.
Yeah,
it's just huge. Too much. Like when the Queen dies, and then like this harvester ship just kind of like leaves. Like, who the fuck's operating this ship? Like your little fucking soldier bees. Just, I guess we would say, oh no, the queen's died. The queen's dead. We got to go back and leave. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's just like the ship just like just fucking leaves. Like, okay, later, when the other ones, it's like they all crashed and stayed on Earth, and they fucking reverse engineered for weapons. Mm-hmm. But this one leaves. Like, I thought that was kind of fucking weird. That didn't make sense. And I don't really know about this whole like good alien thing, like the sphere good alien ball. I thought that was kind of like, oh, we got to think of something to fucking
franchise the
sequel or the third movie.
Like, we set this up, and now we can make a shitload of movies if this pays off. Like, that's what it was.
Yeah, you could have had a fucking, like you were saying, you could have had an epic, huge battle, right? To where like Earth is almost fucking done, dude. Just like the first one, like you're hovering over Area 51, and lights are flickering and shit, and they hover the beam on the thing, and it's like, and you kind of had that at the very end when this queen picks up the ball, and they're like, and they do that fucking missile dive. They're like, this is now or nothing. And it's like, and they blast her, and it's like, oh, she's dead. But that whole scene leading up to it, I thought that was fucking retarded. Like the original one leading up to it, I thought was fucking awesome because it's believable, and they didn't have nothing like that here. They didn't have no like serious hardcore, like you were saying, like fuck me up, fuck Earth up type of moments where you're like, holy shit, dude, we really are like, broken and destroyed right now. No, dude, like always had like kind of like a plan B, which I guess you would say, well, they had 20 years to defend for it, but you can't defend for a fucking thing coming in and taking cities and raising them up. Like,
I mean, I honestly wish these aliens would have just asked me for advice, because I would have said land 3 of those motherfuckers on the Earth at the same time, and game over, dude. Game fucking over, man. Exactly. If one of those things can destroy that much shit, put 3 of them on Earth, man, no one's gonna live.
Yeah,
no,
game over.
Like,
that's right. Yeah,
3 of them. I'm gonna piggyback off of you real quick here too, Perm, because like one of the biggest things that bothered me outside of just like the stuff that I really pay attention to in movies, dude. Like my number one thing is character development. Like interesting characters. Everything else is dismissive. If your characters are interesting, I can handle shit CGI, whatever it is, man. Mm-hmm. But as far as like the first movie, dude, stakes were so high. Like we've all been saying, it's like this David versus Goliath type battle, dude. Like you're at wit's end, you're broken, you're scavenging for pilots, dude. Like you have no idea what you're gonna do. You're like, does anybody out here have any like flying experience, man? Just fucking please, man. Like whatever you got, we're gonna work with it. It's like this whole like we're gonna throw a Hail Mary, dude, and like just go for it. And they like organized this like total global strike, man, to like all work together in a matter of minutes, man. And it just felt like the stakes were so high, dude. David versus Goliath, dude. It was just like at wit's end. You just barely pulled it off. And this movie, not that they had to like redo the whole thing of just global destruction, but like make it feel like those stakes are high again. The stakes were never high. The ending of the movie was not about Earth protecting itself. It was about destroying this queen alien before it got to a sphere, which had nothing to do with us to begin with. So it's like there were no stakes for Earth in this movie whatsoever except for this harvester ship, which didn't mean shit in the end because the alien left the ship. So fuck the ship. Like, we're going after the queen because that's all you got to do now is kill the queen. So there was zero stakes in this movie. There was no characters to make it feel like the stakes were high, to make you get behind and root for anybody. It was literally just watching shit play out on screen. And that was the biggest disappointing thing to me, with the lack of interesting characters.
It was. I mean, and like I kind of touched on it earlier, but like the science behind the film just didn't make a lot of sense. And, for the first movie, you had that awesome sequence where, President Whitmore is getting, like choked or he's getting not choked, but psychologically like in touch with mind read and stuff. And he says he's like, oh, they go to every planet and they take all their resources. And I was like, cool, fuck yeah, you give them a motive to be here, right? They come back, they start drilling for the core of the Earth. And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck does lava have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to use that for to further your technology? Your technology is already so advanced. You don't need liquid rock to help you. You know what I mean? It would have been cooler if they would have just come to land and fuck us up again, and we could have kept the same motivations as before. We didn't need that added thing where like they're drilling for the Earth's core. Man, if they break through, we're fucked.
Well, that's what didn't make sense, dude.
Revenge was your motive.
Yeah, like revenge. Like you had that
but
whole
they
sequence.
never attacked us. That's the thing that made zero sense. We beat you in the first one. Now you're coming back, but you don't even attack. You just dock and start drilling.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Right. And then you have like these little characters throughout, you know,
they never
the movie.
attacked us. We attacked them. We initiated the whole attack.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You know, and here's quick question too. How the fuck did all these aliens survive in these capsules for the last 20 years? Have we been feeding them? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Why
would we even keep those fuckers alive? Like,
before we bust out with time here, so we know exactly where they want to go with this franchise. Chances of the movie being made are still up in the air because it's not performing anywhere as good as I'm sure they were hoping to. If we get Independence Day 3, based on where the movie ended, and they're talking about intergalactic space travel and what could come of this, does that get you at least intrigued for what could come next?
No, I'm not interested in this movie anymore. I won't see it.
Bone Daddy.
I would say yes, but if they keep like the same shit actors, no, dude. Like everybody sucked.
That's where I'm at.
Like,
I'm with you 100%.
Everybody sucked, dude. Yeah.
I'm okay with them totally shifting this whole shit, dude. And like now we're just out in intergalactic space. Like whatever. Let's see what you can do with it.
Because you want to see what their home planet looks like or their mother base, you know?
Right.
Just like the Predator. Like we're bringing the guys to the fucking Predator planet, dude, where the Predators like fucking, you know, fight each other. It's like, oh fuck yeah, cool. So your mind starts running. So you get like this like cool creative idea in your head, or you like this what you perceive what this all gonna look like. But if they have the same fucking people, man, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. You got the president dead. Dude. All you got with Jeff Goldblum. You think he's gonna be like, well, unless they pay him fucking buco bucks, you know? And he's like, well, all right, you know. But then you got the father. Is he gonna pass away in like fucking 5 years? You know, the real guy. You know.
Yeah, who knows what that's going to look like as far as characters that they bring back.
You know they're going to bring all these assholes back. And that's why it's just like, it's unintriguing to me. I like the idea of it just because it'd be something different and new, whatever. See what they can pull off. I don't want to see these characters again, so that's that. Independence Day Resurgence. Disappointing.
0 out of 10? What would you give it?
Out of 10?
3.
Fuck, you're stone cold, dude. I was going to say at least an 8.
No, I'd give it a 3 just for Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum automatically gets 3 points.
Yeah, you get 3 points for Jeff Goldblum, man. That's about it.
Like we said, dude, fucking 4, man. I don't know.
4?
Maybe even after discussion, I'd say fucking 2.
Yeah, dude, I'd do honestly 2. 1 point for Goldblum, one point for Hirsch, dude. Just because I like those characters, man, and I thought they carried them over decent enough to where I was interested in their story a little bit.
Yeah.
Terrible movie, dude. Not the worst movie ever seen, but when you're looking at big Hollywood budgeted films where like these are the movies, summer blockbusters you want to see, one of the fucking worst I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I mean, I hate to say this, but I wonder if Michael Bay would have done it better justice. Like, you wonder if he would have at least made it entertaining.
All right, and we are the Nerf Herders. Check us out on Facebook.com/NerfHerdersPodcast, YouTube.com/NerfHerdersPodcast. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed the episode. Leave us comments. Let us know what you thought about Independence Day, Resurgence, things that you liked, things that you didn't like. Are you excited for where they might go with the franchise if they continue doing this? Definitely let us know. I am Bootzilla.
I'm Big Perm.
J-Bone.
Thank you guys very much, and we will catch you next time.
Peace.